Hello and welcome back to another video, and today we have our Legacy Blue Eyes White Dragon deck profile. I want to give credit to Mateo for giving me access to this profile. This video would not be possible without him. And let's get right into it. So first off, we're playing 3 Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. This card is insane because basically it must be special summoned from your hand by revealing a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then you can only special summon one once per turn. So it's a free summon, and then once per turn you can target a monster your opponent controls and pop it. And so it's just a really good card for the deck because it's just a free level 8 that you can spam onto the board. Next up, we have 3 of the OG Vanilla Blue Eyes White Dragon. This card is definitely a 3 of in the deck. You need it for cards like Trade In and all of that nice stuff. And you have combos with it. You can make True King of all Calamities. And so next up, we have 1 Blue Eyes Solid Dragon, which basically, if it's normal or special summon, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and negate the effects. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can quick effect shuffle it from the field into the deck. And if you do special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck. So it's a very good one of. I would not recommend it running at anything higher than 1. Next up, we have 1 Dragon Spirit of Light. So people used to run this at 2 to 3, but now with like alternative and all of these cards, it's really not worth it, especially if you're playing like the Legacy build like this. You want to go full KAIBA, and it's not 100% KAIBA with that. And then we have 3, the White Stone of Ancient. So this card is absolutely insane. It's amazing. Definitely a 3 of. So basically, once per turn during the end phase, if it's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn for, like, let's say you link summon into Link Rebo, you can activate the effect. You can special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster, any monster, Blue Eyes, from your deck. And then you can also banish it from your graveyard and target a Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So it's definitely an insane card that you must run in any Blue Eyes deck. Next up, we have 2, the White Stone of Legends. So it used to be at 1, but now we run it at 2 because we want to see it a bit more, even though it is searchable. Basically, if it's sent to the graveyard, you just get to search Blue Eyes White Dragon. And why the card is so good is because when you do search Blue Eyes White Dragon, you have access to the whole True King of all Calamities combo, because for that you need Jet Synchron and Blue Eyes. Next up, we have the 3 of the best normal summon in the deck by far, Sage with Eyes of Blue. Basically, when it's normal summon, you can add one level 1 light tuner from your deck to your hand, except itself, and then you can discard it and target 1 effect monster you control and send it to the graveyard. And if you do special summon Blue Eyes from the deck. Next up, we have 1 Effect Veiler. Only 1 because it's searchable. There's nothing much to say about that. It's a pretty good card. It's a light. It's interesting. I recommend running it. Next up, we have 3 Jet Synchron. So this card is the second best normal summon right after Sage, because if you have this in Blue Eyes, then you have access to the True King of all Calamities. So that is very, very good, and it's definitely a 3 of in the deck. You want to see it as much as possible. Next up, we have 2 Chaos Dragon Legionnaire. Basically, the whole point of this is that you have a lot of lights, and then your extra deck, you have a lot of darks, and you're going to be sending a lot of cards from your like hand and grave, and they're all just going to end up in the grave together. And then Legionnaire, you just summon it out, and it will take games for you. Next up, onto the spells, we have 1 for 1. And so it's a very standard card in the deck because you have so many level 1s that there's no reason why not to play it. Another thing to note is that you can bring out Jet Synchron with this for the True King of all Calamities play. And basically, you send 1 monster from your hand and special summon 1 level 1 monster from your hand or deck. So it's a very, very good card. Next up, we have 3 Trade-In for consistency because Blue Eyes has so Blue Eyes isn't exactly the most consistent, so you want to max out on any like draw stuff that will help you make the deck good. Next up, we have 3, the Melody of Awakening Dragon. This card is very, very good, as you can discard 1 card and add up to 2 dragon monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So you can add like 2 Blue Eyes, or you can add like let's say you want to add like alternative and Blue Eyes your dragon, so you can get a free alternative onto your field, and so on. And just a very, very good card that you should definitely be running 3 of. Next up, we have 3 Return of the Dragon Lords, which basically you can target 1 level 7 or 8 dragon monster and special summon it. that it has to be in your graveyard. And then a lot of people forget about the second effect, but if a dragon monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can banish that card from the graveyard instead. So it's definitely a 3 of. It's very good for recursion and protection. I definitely recommend running that. Next up, we have 3 cards of consonants, and basically you discard a dragon tuner with 1,000 or less attack and draw 2 cards. So that's basically your white stone of legend, your white stone of ancients, and all of that, and you get them in the grave so you can have their effects in the end phase and such. It's a very good card, and it allows you to boost the consistency of the deck. Definitely 3 of. And then we have 1 monster reborn. Because you're sending so many cards to the graveyard, there's no reason of why not to play it. Next up, we have 3 Pot of Desires. There's no specific card in the deck that like has to say. So even if you do desires like and then banish 10, it's not bad really. You still have access to everything that you need to make a combo. And then once again, it helps with the consistency of the deck. So it's definitely a very, very good card to run. And finally, we have 1 Skill Drain, which is a very, very hated card, which I hate myself. But one thing that I don't hate is winning the duel, and that's why we are running 1 Skill Drain. And so basically, you can activate it by paying 1,000 life points, and the effects of all of your of all face-up monsters on the field are just negated. And while those monsters are face-up on their field, um, just they're negated, so they're stopped. The effects can still activate, so you can still pay cost and all that, but it won't resolve. They're just done. So this card is insanely annoying to deal with, insanely good in the deck because half of your cards are normal monsters, right? So there's no reason of why not to play. Definitely a good 1 of because it is at 1. If it wasn't, definitely a 3 of. Onto the extra deck, we have 2 of the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. It is a very, very, very good card because it's a level 9, which is mandatory for the True King of All Calamities play. And basically, it requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner Blue Eyes monsters. And neither player can special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time when it's on the field. And once per turn during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated in the graveyard, um, you can negate the activation, and then during either player's turn, you can tribute the Synchro Summon card, which is itself, for cost and special summon 1 light dragon type Synchro monster from your extra deck in defense position, except Blue Eye Spirit Dragon, and destroy it in the end phase of the turn. Definitely a 2 of, a very good 2 of. You're going to overlay them. You're going to do a lot of stuff with it. You should definitely be running this card. If you aren't, I do not know what you're doing. Next up, we have 1 Azure Eye Silver Dragon. Only 1 because you're not really going to be summoning it other than the effect of Spirit Dragon. And so it requires a tuner and 1 plus non-tuner normal monsters. And if the card is special summoned until the end of the next turn, neither player can target dragon monsters you control with card effects. And also, they cannot be destroyed by card effects. And then once per turn during your end phase, you can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard for cost and special summon it. So it's definitely a very, very good card that you should be running. Next up, we have the 1 True King of All Calamities. For the Calamities play, that's what you're going to be going for if you're going first. A very, very powerful card. It stops a lot of the meta decks like Salad and all of those good decks right now. Next up, we have 1 Cloud Castle, where basically it requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. And when it's synchro summoned, you can target 1 level 9 monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. And then level 8 or lower monsters cannot attack the turn they are normally special summoned. But the whole point of this play of this card is to summon another level 9 monster and then overlay for Calamities. Another very, very good card that you should only be running 1 of. And then we have Stardust Spark Dragon, also a mandatory card in the deck. It requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters, and then once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target 1 face-up card you control, and it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. But you're really not running it for effect. You just need a level 8 synchro, and it fits the job perfectly well. And for our final synchro, we have Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, where basically it requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters, and if it's special summoned, or a level 5 or higher monster special summon to your opponent's side of the field, you can target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls for cost and return that target to the hand. And then, so this card is definitely just a very, very good card to run. It can out a lot of cards, and you definitely should be running it. Onto some more Xyz monsters. We have 1 Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon. So it requires 2 level 8 monsters, and once per turn you can detach 1 Xyz material from it, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. And monsters you control cannot attack your opponent directly for the rest of its turn, but also you get to take control of the targeted monster until the end phase. And while while that effect is applied, it has its effects negated, and also the attack becomes 3,000. Next up, we have a 1 Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade Dragon, which is very self-explanatory as you are running the Cypher Dragon, and 1 Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon, also very self-explanatory. A very, very good card, though definitely should be running it. Next up, we have 1 Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. It requires 2 level 8 monsters, and once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from it, then target 1 face-up monster on the field, and its effects are negated, but it is unaffected by other card effects. But it's basically just a negate that you want to have. Next up, we have 1 Link Rainbow, which is very, very good in this deck to normal summon the White Stone of Ancients or like the White Stone of Legend, link into Link Rainbow, and you get their effects. So it's definitely a very good one of. And then 1 number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. 1 Sanafond. So this card is very good against Orcus, and with Gearsu coming out soon, you definitely should be running this. And as the last card in the extra deck, we have 1 number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. And yeah, that's a very good card. It's a spell negate, and it can also help you go for game. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all for the deck profile. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right, guys. Peace.